Remember that. Lovely.
What was that a demonstration of, by the way? It started out to be of gravity and it wound up being of centrifugal force, I think.
During the World War II, the Big Three, America, the Soviet Union, and Britain unite to defeat the Axis power. After the war, their alliance fell apart, and the US and the Soviet Union become rivals in the Cold War, competing for global dominance, including in space exploration. The Soviet Union took an early lead by launching Sputnik 1 in 1957 and sending Yuri Gagarin to space in 1961. In response, President Kennedy promised to land an American on the moon by the end of the 1960s. This goal was achieved on July 20, 1969 with the Apollo 11 mission, a major victory for the US in the Cold War. The Apollo 11 mission, led by astronaut Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, made history on July 20, 1969, when they became the first human to set foot on the moon. The iconic image of Armstrong taking his first step on the lunar surface have become ingrained in the public consciousness. But some believe that these images were carefully crafted in a Hollywood studio instead of being captured on the moon itself.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
One of the main arguments that the skeptic put forth is the lack of a star in the lunar sky. In the footage and photographs taken during the Apollo mission, the sky appeared black with no visible star. This has led some to believe that the moon landing was staged, as they argue that the sky should have been filled with stars due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon. While this argument may seem compelling at first glance, it can be easily debunked by understanding the basics of photography. The cameras used during the Apollo mission were set to capture the bright lunar landscape, which made it difficult for the faint light of the star to be captured on the film. Additionally, the astronauts themselves have confirmed that they were unable to see any star due to the glare from the sun. Another point of contention for skeptics is the behavior of the American flag planted on the moon. In the footage of the Apollo mission, the flag can be seen waving as if it is being blown by the wind. This has led some to believe that the flag was not on the moon at all, but instead in a studio where fans were used to create the illusion of movement. So to briefly explain what really happened here, we hired someone that is not a scientist to do it instead. Buckle up for this one.
The movement of the flag on the moon can be explained by the way it was constructed. The flag made of lightweight material that was folded up and stored in a tube during the lunar module's descent. When it was unfurled on the moon, the greases in the fabric caused it to move as it were moving in the wind. Additionally, the lack of atmosphere on the moon meant that there was no air resistance to dampen the movement of the flag. The Apollo mission was a result of years of scientific research and technological advancement. The dedication and hard work of thousands of people involved in the program cannot be discounted.
While the moon landing conspiracy theory may continue to capture the imagination of some, the overwhelming evidence supports the fact that the Apollo mission were indeed real. The achievement of the astronaut who ventured to the moon and the scientists who made it possible should be celebrated and remembered for generations to come.